Hey there, Mr. Sutton here with the Pre-Cal Honors 3-3 Extra Practice number 4 solutions for adding and subtracting rational functions. For this one, to combine these, I need to get a common denominator. Let me start by factoring this y squared minus 9. See what kind of factors are going into my LCD. So we've got basically a squared minus b squared. So I can square root each of those and do kind of an a plus b, a minus b format. So y plus 3, y minus 3. And for our LCD, we definitely need a y plus 3 in there, and also a y minus 3 for that last one there. So now I multiply each fraction by whatever it needs to give me the LCD. For the first fraction, we've already got the y plus 3, but we see that we now need a y minus 3 as well. So multiply by y minus 3 over itself, and I'm doing it over itself, so we're just actually multiplying by 1, not changing the value. For this other fraction, which we're subtracting, well, we've already got the LCD down there, so that one's perfect. We're not going to change a thing. Okay, multiplying this first fraction out, we have y being distributed to y minus 3, so that's going to be y squared minus y times 3, so 3y. And we've got y plus 3, y minus 3 downstairs. No need to change that or expand it or multiply it. We've got the LCD. That's what we were trying to do. And now this other one here we'll just rewrite because that's still there. Since we have the same denominator, I can now write this as one big fraction over y plus 3, y minus 3. And at this point I've got a y squared, nothing to combine that with. I also have a negative 3y minus 6y. So that's going to be a negative 9y. And as always, when you combine fractions by adding or subtracting, you should always see if you can factor and cancel or reduce. We definitely can factor the numerator. You could take a y out of there, leaving me with a y minus 9. But y and y minus 9, none of that is going to cancel out these y plus 3s and y minus 3s down here. So there's really no reason to factor if it's not going to do us any good. So I'll just leave it this way and call this one done. To add these rational expressions, since I'm adding or subtracting, I need common denominators. And it looks like neither of these are factored. So let me actually factor those denominators so I can see what kind of factors need to go into my LCD, my least common denominator. So for this first one here, I need factors of negative 6 that add up to negative 1. Well, there's not a lot of choices. We've got 1 and 6, which doesn't work. We also have 2 and 3. If I had positive 2 and negative 3, that would add up to negative 1. So let me write m plus 2, m minus 3. Now for the second denominator, I can just take a 3 out of that, leaving me with an m plus 2. For my LCD, we definitely need this 3 that's out in front. We also need an m plus 2 and an m minus 3. And this m plus 2 covers both of these m plus 2s. I don't have to write it more than once unless it appeared more than once in a single denominator, but it doesn't. So now all we have to do is multiply each fraction by whatever it needs to get this LCD. For my first fraction, I already have these 2 parentheses. I just need that 3 that was out in front. So let me multiply by 3 over itself. And I'm really just multiplying by 1 here, so that doesn't change the value of anything. For this second denominator, I've already got the 3 and the m plus 2. I still need the m minus 3. So let me multiply by m minus 3 over itself. Let's simplify a little bit here so we can see what we're actually adding together. In our first fraction, m times 3, that's 3m. And I have the LCD in the denominator, just these factors with 3 out in front, which is what we were aiming for. For this other fraction, I have to distribute this 2. So that's going to be 2m minus 6. And then I still have the LCD in the denominator again. Nothing new there. Now I can add the numerators and keep the denominator as what it was, this LCD here. So in the numerator, I've got 3m plus 2m. That's going to be 5m. And we have this minus 6 just kind of along for the ride. Can I factor and reduce anything? Well, can't really factor 5m minus 6. This is as good as it gets, so we'll call this one finished. To simplify this expression, since I'm adding or subtracting, I need a common denominator. Looks like I've got one already, so that's nice. All I have to do then is just keep the denominator and merge these numerators. So we've got 3x minus 7 minus 25, and then minus 5x, so plus 5x. careful distributing that negative to the numerator. So now we've got denominator still is x squared minus 16. We have a 3x plus 5x. That's going to be 8x. Negative 7 minus 25 is negative 32. And just to be on the safe side, let's see if we can factor and reduce this. So in the numerator, I can take out an 8, leaving me with a x minus 4. In the denominator, we've got a squared minus b squared, basically. So I can square root those and use a plus b, a minus b. So x plus 4 and x minus 4. Well, look at that. I can cancel those x minus 4s. So then what I'm left with is an 8 over x plus 4. To simplify this mess, since we're adding these fractions together, we have to get a common denominator. To do that, let me factor this last denominator just to see what I'm dealing with in terms of factors. With luck, maybe some of those will be the same as the other denominators. So I need factors of 2 that add up to negative 3. Well, really only one choice, that's 1 and 2, and that adds up to negative 3 if you have negative 1 and negative 2. So y minus 1 times y minus 2. So for my LCD then, we definitely need a y minus 1, we definitely need a y minus 2, and that happens to be exactly what we have in that last denominator. So this LCD covers all three fractions. Awesome. Let's multiply each fraction by whatever it needs to get this LCD now so that we can combine them. For my first fraction, I've got the y minus 1 already. I need the y minus 2, so we'll multiply by y minus 2 over itself so that I'm really just multiplying by 1, not changing the value. For this next one, the y plus 2 fraction, that one's missing a y minus 1, so we'll multiply by y minus 1 over itself. And for this last one, we already have the LCD, so we'll just keep that along for the ride without making any other change. Okay, so this is where it gets a little messy. We're going to have to multiply each of these fractions together just to see what we're dealing with and get the common denominator. So for the first fraction in the numerator, just foiling this out, we have y times y is y squared, and then we have negative 2y. 1 times y is just plus y. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. We have y minus 1 and y minus 2 downstairs, which is what we were trying to do. For my next fraction now, I've got y squared minus y plus 2y minus 2 all over that LCD. And the last fraction, again, just kind of along for the ride. Nothing changes there. All right. Well, we've got a whole bunch of things to combine in the numerator. Let's just rewrite our denominator since we finally have a common denominator. Whatever we get, it's going to be over y minus 1 and y minus 2. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to combine like terms. The good news is I'm not subtracting any fractions, so I don't have to switch any signs anywhere. But let me just combine like terms, starting with the y squareds. We'll start with the highest exponent. So we have a y squared, we have a plus another y squared. That's the only y squared, so that's 2y squared over here. And now let's collect the y's. We have a negative 2y plus a y, that's a negative 1y. Minus the y over here is negative 2y. Plus 2y cancels out, so we got nothing. But then we have a 1y over here that we're adding, so that's a plus y when all is said and done. And then finally, we have a minus 2 and another minus 2. That adds up to a minus 4. All right. Well, at this point, we'll just see real quick if it's possible to factor that numerator and cancel anything out. If you were going to factor this, the only thing that you could really factor it into, you'd have to use the AC method. So if we did 2 times negative 4, that would be negative 8. We'd be looking for factors of negative 8 that add up to positive 1. But we only have 1 and 8 and 2 and 4 to choose from, and none of that's going to give you a positive 1. So just really quickly trying to factor this, we're going to see that it can't be factored. So that means we are done, and this is as simplified as it's going to get.